So MSNBC is going bankrupt. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen moving forward. Maybe the video can introduce the topic. Hit it.
Elon Musk wants to know how much it would cost to buy MSNBC.
Is there no video to this?
He's posting memes on...
Yeah, I'll talk about the Elon Musk element in a bit. One of the problems with MSNBC is that it sucks. People often made the erroneous comparison between MSNBC and Fox, where Fox was like the right-wing media and MSNBC was the left-wing media. But in reality, there's no comparison. Again, we could talk about Morning Joe and the fact that like Joe Scarborough, the moment Trump won the election, he went down to Mar-a-Lago to pledge his fealty and bow down and kiss Trump's little feet. You know, like it's MSNBC has never been ideologically committed to the project of getting left-wing policy agendas passed. Fox News is completely committed to this agenda, you know? There's really just no comparison. If you want a phenomenal example of how different not only their like effectiveness and consistency is, but the effectiveness of their strategies, have you not noticed Fox News and the people who are on Fox News are downright like ubiquitous? Fox News constantly has major social figures on, constantly has politicians on. There's like a nonstop circle between Washington and Fox News where Republicans boost their messages there. Fox News is incredibly aggressive in their social media channels. On YouTube, they by far get the most viewership of any of the major like mainstream news networks in terms of like every segment, nonstop, all the time. Their hosts often have a bunch of like other side stuff and other social media channels that they run through. People like genuinely, in terms of like how effectively they've weaponized their presence in the market, they are much more competent. MSNBC doesn't even come close. I can't even think of the last time. The big name in MSNBC is Rachel Maddow. When was the last time that there was a big event, some big point of news, and you looked it up on Google or YouTube, and a Rachel Maddow video clip was the first thing that popped up, or even the first 10 things that popped up? I know what the answer is. It's never happened. You don't need to tell me. No one cares. There is just nowhere near that level of aggression when it comes to pushing the message. So, of course, MSNBC is facing Russiagate. Yeah, maybe Russiagate. She was pretty prominent during that, and that worked out so well. Chris Hayes and Mehdi Hasan were great interviewers. Mehdi Hasan, what happened to that guy? Oh, yeah. Do you think it's partly because of the outrage economy? Don't liberals have things to be outraged about? Does Trump not say insane shit all day, every day? I think the outrage economy should be playing pretty damn well in favor of the kinds of people who watch MSNBC. They've failed to move with the times, okay? Fox News has, MSNBC hasn't, in addition to a myriad of other problems. You know, they're just not workable. So anyway, they're going down and maybe someone will buy them. Maybe Elon Musk will buy them. Maybe, as this article posits, Donald Trump will get to decide what happens to MSNBC. In truth, it doesn't really matter that much because I don't think that many people watch MSNBC. You know that like oftentimes the ratings on these channels are not like widely known or discussed, and there's some obfuscation with the numbers. But these days, I'm pretty sure that Joe Rogan consistently polls per episode multiple times more than what you would get in like a given news day for MSNBC. Like they are just not that relevant. I mean, Christ, we might be approaching a point where my monthly views might be getting in the ballpark. Probably not as much as MSNBC, but like it's just difficult to imagine like the extent to which we are in a new world. I know I mean it. It's not me being conceited. I'm also conceited, but this is not me being that. It is, yeah, the fact that there's even a comparison to be made. Absolutely wild. We're entering like a new era of oligarchy. Elon Musk is wealthier than God. It only takes 1 or 2 or 3 billionaires to buy up an economy. Do you remember what happened with Russia after the end of the Cold War? The state holdings of the Soviet Union were divvied up amongst a bunch of party officials, and they ended up overnight becoming some of the wealthiest men in the world. It really does not take that much money to buy a democracy. It just doesn't. I mean, Elon put how much into getting Donald Trump elected? Even if you count buying Twitter as part of that, which I think you should, at most maybe 45 billion. I mean, I know that's a lot, but it's only like 1/5 of what he's worth. 1/5 of what one guy's worth. I mean, that's not... It's the United States of America. And this oligarchic acquisition, it's only going to get worse. The mainstream news networks are going to be bought up or consolidated, or they'll kowtow, as the Washington Post did, as the LA Times did, as CNN did a little while ago. They're going to say, well, the only way for us to appeal to the kind of people who watch our network and will continue to watch our network is to be right-leaning. Will that strategy work? Well, it didn't with CNN, but, maybe. Either out of fear or profit-seeking, they will fall. And soon everything will be right-leaning. Independent media has already gone in this direction. Joe Rogan was not authentically right-leaning 8 or 10 years ago. He was an idiot, and he still is an idiot, but he is now getting paid off. Or if he's not getting directly paid off, he recognizes that there is an implicit financial benefit with his audience demographics to being right-leaning. He might not even consciously recognize that. I'm not even necessarily saying he's like lying, though he does lie all the time. In this respect, I think it's more along the lines of just they see which way the wind is blowing. And it's like that for a bunch of different independent media sources. Now, we do have an advantage, and it's that no matter how much money they spend, the Trump administration will not make the lives of the American people better. No matter how much they buy up the media environment so that every single day people wake up and get blanketed with information, they get told how ICE just cracked down on an immigration or like a migrant front and arrested some criminals, or a white woman got killed at some point in the recent past by a brown guy, and how Donald Trump is fixing everything with these tariffs. It's not going to change the fact that people's lives are going to get harder. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So truth works in our favor here. There's just nothing really they can do about that. Yeah, they can't buy media sources that will literally alter people's perceptions of their immediate reality, just how they interpret and frame those. You get what I'm talking about, right? I'm just letting you guys know you kind of have to be ready, because the oligarchy has come for us. There was a post that I saw on Twitter earlier today that I thought was kind of charming, which was, it was quote tweeting this, here, I think I can just find it. I think I might have retweeted it. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. So the original post is saying, and this is a Nazi, I think. This is me mentally watching Trump cabinet appointments. It's been an emotional roller coaster. It's reinforced my absolute hate for the U.S. Senate and what's needed to get someone approved. We went from recess appointments to red flag law, Pam Bondi and Dr. Oz. I started out pretty positive. Gates, Homan, Musk, RFK, the only position I trust him in. Hegseth, now I won't do this administration because it hasn't even started yet. That'd be silly. Even if nothing got accomplished, it is vastly better than the alternative. That said, come January 20th, it's accountability time. What this guy's essentially saying is that he wanted a Fourth Reich, but Trump keeps appointing neocons to cabinet positions. And the, I think, quite salient quote tweet was, been interesting to watch it slowly dawn on the worst MAGA has to offer, that the German-style race fascism they wanted isn't going to happen, and it's instead just going to be rich, corrupt oligarchy Russian-style fascism. And I think that's really astute. That is what we're going for. One of the reasons why that style of fascism has been exported so aggressively by Russia is because it's the one that is most compatible with liberal democracy. It takes a lot of effort to pull a modern day progressive liberal democracy back into literal Fourth Reich territory. It doesn't take as much effort to just gently nudge the snowball further down the hill, with regard to the consolidation of wealth in the hands of a smaller and smaller number of people who will use the government exclusively to the economic interests of them and their compatriots. That's a pretty easy holdover, right? I mean, it's easy to move from A to B on that one. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot more stable, too. One of the reasons why this faux, isolationism is so common for modern right-wing populists, where they pretend that they just want to focus on their own affairs, but then they kind of continue the status quo when it comes to their colonial relations or trade partners, because that makes them the most money. The United States was fated to become an oligarchy after Citizens United. Yeah. And, I really hope this gets some liberals to reflect on the, because I've seen liberals defend that decision, by the way, crazily enough. The inevitable outcome of this, and of the innate incompatibility of of democracy and capitalism, There's just no way. In a world where you can buy influence and where smaller and smaller groups of people have more and more money, you can't have a functioning democracy. You just can't. There's no way to overwhelm capital on that one. At least not reliably, not in a way that like meaningfully protects your institutions. And the vast majority of libs are against it. Yeah, the vast majority of libs are against Citizens United. I was saying I've seen some libs defend it. I mean, I'm talking to liberals right now because I don't think we're yet at a position where a bunch of disillusioned Republicans are going to come back and say, man, Citizens United was a mistake. Like, we're not quite at that point. There are people who don't understand. Citizens United was inevitable in a system where a small number of people could own this much wealth. You say Citizens United made oligarchy inevitable. I say capitalism made Citizens United inevitable. There is no world in which wealthy people can manifest this much influence in a way that would not like corrode our institutions and allow them to acquire more and more and more. It's regulatory capture, but on a legal level. It's regulatory capture in like a jurisprudence, you know? Where over time, things will get sort of burned out in favor of their interests. And now we're kind of reaching the end game, I feel. Well, not the end game. Nothing ever really ends, but maybe you will buy it. I warned you about the bourgeoisie, bro. I told you, dog. Bourgeoisie, we don't use words like that here. That alienates the common man. We say rich people. We say money big boys. The 1%. Exactly. Like the owners. Well, we are about to get owned, so that is most certainly the case.